Hi, Abraham. It's really a pleasure for me to be here. And since first minute you start talking, it's like some stuff start moving. My question is, and my right now main subject about health. And from this morning, I get key word is vibration. And I realize that I am vibrating something, it's not right, because I'm just sick and tired to be sick. And I try to understand what's going on, because since I was born, it's something happening. It's like 5 surgeries, so when I was 18 months. And I'm thinking positive, I want to be healthy. But every time I get so discouraged, and it's like you were talking about a woman with arthritis. She has 2 choices. I don't have hope anymore. Every time when I'm in pain, I'm stuck.
There is no condition, it really does not matter what it is, that cannot be changed if the thought can change. But that's the trick, isn't it? Beginning to expect differently than you have been expecting. That's what is necessary. So tell us from where you stand what it is you most want. And then together we'll carve out a vibrational pathway to get you there.
I want to be healthy.
Yes.
And just joy every moment. Health number 1.
Now, do you believe it is possible for yourself to separate your health and your joy? In other words, is your joy really dependent upon your health? Or is it possible for you to be joyful even without it? Just answer it. It's all right.
That's tricky.
All right. Most people would say, no, I need my health to have utter joy. It is not necessary, but we understand why you would think that it is. So now we will ask you another question. Is it possible for you to have optimism and not really good health?
No.
Then we'll ask you another question. Is it possible for you to be hopeful and not really have good health? Well, then we'll ask you another question. Is it possible for you to be an ornery toad and not really have good health?
No.
So the point that we're making is, at some point along there, you're going to say yes. In other words, you say, well, I can't be joyful and unhealthy. I can't be optimistic and unhealthy. I can't be ornery and unhealthy. And we say, well, can you be depressed and unhealthy? Well, yeah, that's easy.
Of course.
It might not be easy in the beginning to be unhealthy and joyful. It might be easier to be unhealthy and ornery. But from unhealthy and ornery, or unhealthy and frustrated, you can be unhealthy and less frustrated. And when you make the effort, and we know you do, but when you make the effort to change the way you feel emotionally, even though nothing has changed in your body, something has to change in your body. And so there are diseases that are vibrational matches to different vibrational set points. In other words, somebody who hangs around in joyful has different bodily conditions than somebody who hangs around in ornery. Somebody who hangs around in stressful has different bodily conditions than somebody who hangs around in joyful. Somebody who hangs around in fearful has different bodily conditions. In other words, the way you feel is reflected in everything about your manifestations. So we really want you to hear us when we say you can. Hear us when we say you can change the way you feel, even when you consider yourself to not be as healthy as you want to be. And in time, that health will come back around to match the newfound vibration.
Okay, it's another question. When I was born, and I think, baby who comes in this world, any person, it's pure energy, right? And what I did when I was 18 months to make it, it's like started.
Well, the thing that
what is thoughts and attitude or my vibration, it was wrong that.
What did you do to make this music get loud in the room next door?
Nothing.
In other words, what did you do, and why didn't you do something different? Well, now... Sometimes up close to you are things that you aren't necessarily asking for that get your attention. And as they get your attention, they become part of your experience. And as they become part of your experience and get your attention, they become part of your vibration. And as they become part of your vibration, they become part of your manifestation. You are influenced by the vibration of your mother when you are in her womb. You're influenced by the vibration of the way your family feels financially before you can even speak words. You are influenced by the vibrations that are around you. But you always have this long-standing, residing vibration of well-being that is the first point of the 2 points of relativity, you see. And so that's why we say, don't try to figure out how something got started. Just ask yourself, do I want to continue it? From my wise place of experience, is it something that I want to continue? And if it is, continue to give it your attention. If it isn't, do your best to withdraw your attention from it. The only way we've ever known anyone able to withdraw their attention from one thing is to apply their attention to another. And that's why we are really encouraging all of you to, yes, you've got this action journey, but you have this emotional response to this action journey that you have much more latitude within than most of you give yourself credit. And if you make an effort to find different thoughts, then you will have a different vibration. Really, you will. Spend no time trying to figure out how something got started. We will tell you something that if we were standing in your physical shoes would please us very much. The vibration of your being, as it is right now, would not get something like that going, but it is enough to keep it going. In other words, your observation of what is what's perpetuating it. And you're right, it is tricky because once you have a condition that others are looking at and labeling and taking pictures of and identifying, then it's a little bit harder for it to get out of your vibration, but you still can. You've got to care about your emotional response to your physical discomfort even more than you care about your physical discomfort. Jerry has a game that he's played for years. Esther's laughed at him about it. That if he has a little discomfort of some kind, in order to figure out how serious it is, he pinches himself or does some other physical sensation to his body. And if he can make the pinch hurt, then he figures the other sensation is not that strong. In other words, it's another way of identifying vibrational relativity. And the reason that we bring it up here, besides public humiliation, is because we think it's very helpful to keep things in perspective. There is so much leeway within everything, and most people don't try to lean toward the more positive. Most people, instead of trying to make the best of something, almost without exception, make the worst of something. And part of the reason that you tend to make the worst of something is because you know that innately that things should be better for you. And when they're not, then you spend time trying to figure out why they are not better. And part of the human trying to figure out why they're not better seems to be pointing out where they are and trying to figure out how you got there. But that's a very backwards approach. What you're wanting to do is play down any discomfort while you play up any comfort. You're wanting to play down anything that doesn't feel so good while you play up what feels better. And in time, you'll reach the place that you really can separate your emotional response from your physical response. And when you can do that, then you're really on your way. In other words, if we ask someone who cares deeply about what's going on in the world to try to withdraw her attention from what's going on in the world long enough to reconnect with who she really is so that she can feel personally, selfishly joyful in the midst of all of this stuff that's going on in the world, we're really not asking anything different from you. You really help us to make this powerful point. It is the most important thing that a teacher could ever attempt to teach, and that you as a teacher have come forth to teach. You can offer a vibration because you choose to, and then everything else will come into alignment, rather than asking everything else to come into alignment and then having a knee-jerk response to what has come into alignment. When you show yourself that it is mind over matter, that it is mind over body, that it is mind over everything, when you show yourself that you can focus and improve your emotional response, we're not saying focus the pain away. We're saying focus the blues away. We're saying focus the discouragement away. We're saying focus the pessimism away. We're saying focus the worry away. We're saying focus the fear away. And when you focus some of that away and you find yourself feeling more optimistic, even though you've got physical discomfort, the physical discomfort cannot abide in a vibrational attitude of optimism. It just can't. Don't be hard on yourself if you can't immediately change the way your body feels. And don't be hard on yourself if you can't even immediately, dramatically change your emotional response to it. But just consistently make the effort. And if you make consistently the effort, you'll feel emotionally better, and you'll feel emotionally better, and you'll feel emotionally better. And you will have a tipping point where instead of it being harder for you to feel emotionally positive, it will be easy for you to feel emotionally positive. And about then, you will begin to notice that the recurrences are infrequent, that the progress in terms of your physical well-being is steady. We would talk all day, every day, if Esther had the time and energy for it, and the words that would come out of our mouth are, you create your own reality, and it can be any way you choose it to be. And no one else can create in your reality. You create your own reality, and you can create it any way you want it to be. And then we would say, but don't be hard on yourself if you have created a reality that's less than you want it to be. Just make a decision that you're going to work a little harder to create it to be a little more like you want it to be. But don't try to create it to be so much differently than it now is that it upsets you and makes you mad at yourself that you've not created it differently. In other words, just do your best. So the new slogan or the new mantra is, today, I'm going to look for the best feeling thought I can find. Not the best feeling thought I've ever thought or that anyone has ever thought. The best feeling thought that I have access to right now. And before you know it, you'll be feeling pretty darn optimistic, and your physical condition will reflect it accurately. It always does. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely with all of you. We've been interacting whether you've been sitting in the chair and speaking or not. Much has taken place here on a vibrational level. Much more has happened within your personal experience vibrationally than you have heard auditorially. In other words, it has been a vibrational experience for everyone, no exception. It is our desire that as you move forward in the hours and days and years that are before you, that you relax and make peace with where you are. And by that we mean you acknowledge that what is what is, and it's fine. Spend less time trying to see where you stand through the eyes of others. In fact, work hard at no longer giving a rip what they think, because they mean well, but they haven't got a clue about you and your vibration. Make a decision that the thing that really, really matters to you is your vibrational relativity between who you really are and who you're being in this moment. And when you find yourself feeling not so good, stop and laugh and say, oh, isn't this good? I can feel that vibrational relationship right now. And this negative feeling that I have in my solar plexus or wherever it feels that you're feeling it, this negative emotion that I am identifying means that I have right now activated a thought that is quite different from the way my inner being and source sees this. So if I'm critical of me and I feel negative emotion, it surely means my inner being is never critical of me. If I'm critical of you and I feel negative emotion, it surely must mean my inner being is never critical of you. If I'm critical of the president or critical of his policies or critical of the environment or critical of the economy or critical of my own bank account and I feel negative emotion, it must only be because I have chosen, freely chosen, to activate a vibration that's so different from the vibration of who I really am that I have managed to set up some vibrational discord, and yippee, 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 I can feel it. And because I can feel it, I will be able to feel it as it dissipates. I can literally talk myself into feeling better on every subject that I have activation. And as you do that, bit by bit, you are going to improve the vibrational relationship between where you are and what you want and who you really are on every topic. And those who are watching this transformation will think that you have suddenly become magical. They will want to know what magic wand you have found. And you will say to them, I made peace with me. I stopped finding fault with me. I stopped finding fault with you. I stopped looking for reasons to feel bad, and I started looking for reasons to feel good. I stopped making the worst of things, and I started making the best of things. I stopped asking other people to be the reason for me feeling better, and I decided that I could be the reason for me feeling better. And in that decision, I found ultimate freedom. And when you're free, you just gotta feel good. We have enjoyed this interaction more than words can convey. There is great love here for you.